Hello everyone, welcome again to the second part of the lecture, that is on Indian Constitution class 8th topic. I am Ashwin Joglikar from Resonance PCCP division. So let us begin with our topic. Let's continue with that. Now in Indian Constitution, earlier what we had been looking at, we'll just go through that once. That is introduction we looked at the constitution part of it, and why do we need a constitution, why a constitution is helpful, and later on we talked about the framing of the Indian Constitution, and then vision and values of the Indian Constitution we are continuing. That is, we had already seen about the preamble, that is the introduction to the Constitution. Today we will start with the features part of it, features of our Constitution. That is, first feature is here federal features. Now what is federalism? First of all, federalism refers to two or more than two levels of government, that is, or having more than one level of government. Now so this refers to the existence of more than one level of government in the country. In India we have governments at the state level, at the center, also at Panchayati Raj is the third tier or level of government. So we have a structure like this: central government, then you have state governments, and your Panchayati Raj. So this is a three-tier structure. Now the vast number of communities in India meant that a system of government needed to be devised that did not involve any only person sitting in the center or in the capital New Delhi and making decisions for everyone, but they also wanted people, so that in remote areas or remote parts, so that their everyday problems could have a solution. Instead, it was important to have another level of government in the states, so that decisions could be made for that particular area. While each state in India enjoys autonomy in exercising powers on certain issues that we will be looking at later on, subjects of national concern require that all of these states follow the laws of the central government. The Constitution demarcates the powers of the central and the state governments into different lists of subjects according to their priority or their importance, and these are divided into three lists, that is union list first of all. Now as the name suggests here, the union list, all the decisions or all laws are made by the center here or the union. The state list, subjects which are important for the state are again handled by the state governments. And the concurrent list, concurrent again has subjects of importance for both the center as well as the state. Now here in this what happens is both the decisions are taken or laws are made by union, that is your central government, or your state governments, and if there is a conflict of laws, then the law made by the union or the central government will prevail. Now that is what we will be looking at further. Subjects of national importance, like you have defense, foreign affairs, atomic energy, banking, post and telegraph, are all included in the union list. That is, the union list is taking decisions for this. The central government can pass laws on the subjects mentioned in the union list, and there are some 100 subjects which are mentioned in this list. Now the state list comprises those important subjects on which the state government can pass laws. Subjects like police, local government, trade and commerce within the state, agriculture are included in the state list, and there are some 61 subjects in the state list. All right. So moving on to the next one, that is in order to avoid any kind of ambiguity or confusion in the distribution of functions, the Constitution provides for a third list which is called the concurrent list, and these lists have subjects which are of common concern for both center and the state governments. The concurrent list has some 52 subjects. In addition, the Constitution also specifies where each tier of government can get the money from for the work that it does. So for that, whatever kind of money they require to carry on their work, so that is also specified in the Constitution. Now under federalism, the states are not merely agents of the federal government, but also draw their authority from the Constitution as well. Now here the center cannot dictate the states to do things. All persons in India are governed by laws and policies made by each those of those levels of government. Now, second one is parliamentary form of government. Now, a parliamentary form of government, that is what we have in India, is also known as a responsible government or a responsive government. Its main features is that cabinet or the council of ministers is legally responsible to the legislature for its policies and acts, whereas in India the prime minister and other ministers are responsible to the Lok Sabha for their acts. That is all right. So first of again, I'll just repeat this once more. Its main feature is that cabinet or the council of ministers is legally responsible to the legislature for its policies and acts. That is, in India, in Lok Sabha, the prime minister and other minister or his cabinet or council of ministers are responsible to the Lok Sabha for their acts. The president has to act on the advice of council of ministers. At the state level, the chief minister and his council of ministers are responsible to the Vidhan Sabha or the legislative assembly for all their acts. So that is what that again, the executive here is answerable to the people in your legislature. Now, separation of powers. There is according to the constitution, there are three organs of the state government. These are legislature, executive and the judiciary. Legislature refers to our elected representatives. Executive is a smaller body or group of people who are responsible for running the government or implementing laws and running the government. The judiciary further refers to the system of courts in the country. In order to prevent the misuse or of power by any one organ of the state, the constitution says that each of these organs should exercise different powers, and through this each organ acts as a check on the other. So this system is also known as a system of checks and balances other organs on the state, and this ensures the balance of power between all the three. All right. Now, fundamental rights. Again, the section on fundamental rights has often been referred to as the conscience of the Indian Constitution. That is, fundamental rights protect citizens from the arbitrary or absolute exercise of power by the state. The Constitution thus guarantees the rights of individuals against the state as well as against other individuals. The Constitution classifies the fundamental rights under 7 groups. According to 44th Amendment, the right of property is now just a legal right and is no more a fundamental right. Now, there are presently 6 fundamental rights which are there. Now, which are as follows: right to equality, that is Article 14 to 18, all persons are equal before the law. Then we have right to freedom, that is Article 19 to 22. Then right against exploitation, that is Article 23 to 24. Right to freedom of religion, that is Article 25 to 28. And cultural and right to cultural and educational rights, that is Article 29 to 30, and right to constitutional remedies, that is to approach the courts, Article 32. So in total again 6, we can see it from the beginning: right to equality, that is Article 14 to 18, right to freedom, Article 19 to 22, which again has your freedoms: a right to freedom of speech and expression, the right to assemble peacefully without arms, form associations, right against exploitation, Article 23 and 24, right to freedom of religion, Article 25 to 28, cultural and educational rights, Article 29 and 30, and right to constitutional remedies. Now, protection of minorities. Moreover, the various minority communities also expressed the need to include rights that would protect minority groups. That is, the Constitution therefore also guarantees the minorities against the majority. As Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has said about these fundamental rights, their object is twofold. Now, this is important here. The first objective is that every citizen must be in a position to claim those rights, that everyone should have those rights available to him. And secondly, these rights must be binding upon every authority that has got the power to make laws, that is the government. So these rights should also be binding on those who have the power to make the laws. Now, fundamental duties, as we have some rights, we have also included some of the fundamental duties which are there for us as citizens. That is, human rights and fundamental rights help men, women and children to develop and use their talents and qualities to satisfy their needs in the process of development. There are also certain duties that one must abide by, and these are known as fundamental duties. Now, here are some duties which are mentioned here. The Constitution of India incorporated the fundamental duties in 1976. So, again, fundamental duties were not originally a part of our constitution, but by the 42nd Amendment Act of the year 1976. The fundamental duties enshrined in the constitution are abiding by the constitution and respecting the ideals and institutions, and the national anthem, the national flag, cherishing and following the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle, then upholding and protecting the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India, defending defending the country and rendering national service when called upon to do so, promoting harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood among the people of all religious, linguistic, regional or sectional diversities, valuing the natural environment, developing scientific temper, humanism and the spirit of inquiry and reform, safeguarding public property, striving towards excellence in all spheres of individual as well as collective activity so that nation constantly rises to new heights. Now, moving on further, that is DPSP or Directive Principles of State Policy. Now, all the ideas which are mentioned in the constitution cannot be put into place directly, that is, cannot be translated into laws at once. Knowing this, framers of a constitution also laid certain guidelines for the future governments to take up for gradual translation of ideas into laws, and these guidelines are called as your Directive Principles of State Policy or DPSP. Further, when a government wants to give effect to a directive principle, it can passes a law to that particular effect. Now, there are various types of directive principles, those that promote economic justice, and those that promote welfare, social justice, and those that strengthen the democratic system, seek to preserve our natural and cultural heritage, and those that are related to foreign policies. Alright. Now, like the preamble, the directive principles also cannot be enforced by law, and though it is the government's duty to follow these principles while framing policies, the government cannot be sued in a court if it fails to do so. Now, these were some of the important committees of the Constituent Assembly and their chairman, Committee on the Rules and Procedure, on the Rules of Procedure, chairman was Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Steering Committee, again Chairman Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Finance and the Staff Committee, Chairman Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Ad hoc Committee on the National Flag, Chairman Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Committee on the Functions of the Constituent Assembly, G.V. Mavalankar. And States Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru. Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, Minorities and Tribal and Excluded Areas, Vallabhbhai Patel. Minorities and Subcommittee, H.C. Mukherjee. Fundamental Rights Subcommittee, J.B. Kriplani. And finally, the Chairman of the Drafting Committee and the father of our Constitution, Indian Constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Alright, now here are some of the keywords that we can go through. Preamble, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic, with short definitions to all of them. That are the keywords which are mentioned here in the chapter. Apart from that, we can just recall the chapter also once. That is, a constitution is a set of fundamental rules that govern a country. Constitution of India was framed by a Constituent Assembly established on in December 1946, that is the Constituent Assembly. The elections for which happened in July. It was finalized in November 1949 and enforced on January 26, 1950. According to the Constitution, India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic which assures its citizens justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. And according to the Constitution, India has a federal form of government, system of government and a parliamentary form of government. Now, the three organs of the government again function independently of each other, that is a system of check and balance, and the Constitution guarantees 6 fundamental rights to all citizens which can be enforced in a court of law. The Constitution established the rule of law of India. This means no one is above the law or the Constitution. Now, this brings us an end to this chapter. Thank you so much.